There may be a couple more months left in 2025, but this case right here, case Z of singles, marks the end of 2025 in terms of the Mattel Disney Cars diecast mainline. That's right, we are officially on the 2026. After this case, we'll review the 2 new cars in the case, and then yeah, we're completely done with the year. It's pretty crazy, but it is mid-October. 2026 cars are already hitting stores across the world. So yeah, time doesn't stop. Things are moving right along, but let's enjoy this last case of the year before we launch right on into the 20th anniversary year of 2026. So yes, like I said, 2025 singles case Z here to unbox all 24 cars. We're not doing any half case action. We do the full boat on the Mr. Docket channel here. And this case came from GetMeCollecitlbes. So if you are interested in getting your own case, you can reach out to him using the email in the description below, or you could just check out his eBay store and buy the cars individually along with older stuff too. He's got literally everything you could possibly ask for in terms of Disney cars. But yes, 95D, that was the code for 2025. Z indicates what exact 24 cars are in this box. Then next year, it will be 95. We'll revert back to A, and we'll get A all the way through M or L. Yeah, I think it's M. So yeah, of course, M, because that's the first 12 letters of the alphabet after you omit I, because it looks too much like a 1. And then when they do the latter half of the alphabet, they omit O because it looks too much like a 0. And thus you are left with 24 letters, and they do 12 cases of singles per year. That is math for you. But this is also the last singles case that will be made in Thailand when we click on over to 2026 stuff. It will be back in China, but as we've already touched on, the manner in which they are producing cars will not change. They will still look pretty much identical, albeit a few differences here and there to the Thai counterparts that we have been dealing with since mid-2018. So don't expect this Chinese resurgence to be some savior that brings back high quality decals. That is not what is happening, unfortunately. All right. I know you can't see the top row, but you're going to see it here in just a moment as I pull down the first 2 cars of the case. Those are Rally Race Chick Hicks, and he is doubled up on in this case. I have actually found a good amount of this case at Target, Kohl's, and B&M over in the United Kingdom. Pretty crazy. I was in London a few weeks ago, and I took a trip down to Dover, and I was just walking along the streets. They had a B&M. Literally, it was so coincidental. I was not looking for it. I was actually walking back to the train station to go back to London. Walked in because I know that's a store that carries cars, and found a couple pretty much full. I think it was 3 full case Z's minus 2 Eugene Carbureski's. It's kind of strange. But yes, so I've seen quite a few of Chick Hicks lately after he had disappeared for a couple months. You know, he came out in case V with the debut of the Race and Rescue stuff, McQueen and Mater as well. And then he just kind of disappeared. Now he's been in the 2-pack with Rally Race McQueen, but this has been a very popular release. I stand by that he is the best thing that's come out of all of, not just Rally Race, but Race and Rescue as a whole. It's a phenomenal new paint job. It's one of the best releases of the year. The bar is pretty low, but I do think even in like a regular year, he would rank in the top 10 just because it's a classic, iconic character getting a very nice, unique paint job. Blows all 3 of these out of the park. I mean, I like McQueen, I like Mater, I don't like Sarge, but still, Chick Hicks, really good release for them this year and proving to be quite popular as a single. The 2-pack, maybe not so much, but I think it's kind of underrated. That McQueen is exclusive to that 2-pack and is not going to be coming back anytime soon. I mean, the 2-pack will come back in 2026, but that's it. Sound like that McQueen is getting a single release. Here we have another double, and that is Ryan Shields for Zeen. This is Bad News Bears. He's already peg warming from his inclusions in case W and I think Y. I don't believe he was in X. I think he was in Y though. All my targets are loaded up on him. I mean, it's actually insane that a Piston Cup racer that we highly anticipated, it was his first time being released in Thailand outside of the metallic scavenger hunt release in late 2019. And yet, just like that, he's already peg warming. Everyone who's wanted him already has him, and he's lost all of his enthusiasm, all of the hype around him. And Eugene, obviously the Tanko racer in the same boat as him this year, first time getting his release from Thailand. I'm just going to spoil it. He's back in this case, but at a quantity of 1. So case X and Z, quantity of 1. I think that's fine. Eugene, granted, is going to be more popular than Ryan and predecessor Ernie Gearson, who also has been peg warming like crazy, although has calmed down over the last couple months because he just hasn't been in as many cases. Ryan Shields has kind of taken over the mantle. That's a lot of information, but I know, if you guys know, you know, right? This is a good Thailand variant, though. I think he's more accurate to the movie in terms of the paint job. They tone up some of the green stripes on him. And I think, he looks really good. But, he's just been peg warming. And it's been kind of surprising to me. I was not expecting some of these Piston Cup racers this year to peg warm so bad. But, you look at the back. And, like, Darrell Cartrip sells really well. Mario sells well. Dexter, barely see him. Christina, a little bit. Pick crew member Sarge, pretty good. Lightning McQueen with shovel, peg warmer. Like, I would not have thought that. Again, Lightning McQueen with shovel's first time from Thailand. But at the end of the day, I really do think it comes down to how many times they're included in a case. And, Ryan already included in multiple cases. And now, for whatever reason, they're doubling up on him in this one, which to me really doesn't make all that much sense. But let's move on here to some more exciting cars. Sally, whoop-de-doo. Now, is it too much to say? It's like too much of an overreaction to say that this version of Sally is retired after this case. It kind of is seeming that way. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, they're moving things to China. We already touched on that, right? I said there aren't going to be that many crazy differences. But Sally, on the other hand, is kind of seeing a crazy difference, although it's not a difference that we are unfamiliar with. Like, you take the 5-pack version of Sally at Walmart, and it's pretty much identical to this single version from 2026. I just don't understand why they're all of a sudden now deciding to use this version of Sally in the singles, whereas they have proven for years now that they like to use this kind of more traditional look for Sally in the singles, and then the 5-pack and some other expanded universe type lines get the more accurate, updated version of Sally. And so this is a good thing. Like, this is what you'll see in 2026. And it's a good indicator of if your store has gotten in any 2026 stuff. Just look at the Sallys. And if you see this new version here with better taillights, better headlights, much better expression, then the black eyeliner around the windshield, then your store has gotten in 2026, at least case A, but it's not like there will be a shortage of Sallys throughout the year. But you could see how much they've improved with her from just literally 2025 case Z and 2026 case A. It's pretty cool. I think I will do a review on her at some point, this new variant, but I just want to make you guys aware of that because, it does basically mean that this current version of Sally is being retired. Like, we won't see this more traditional look for her that we've become used to since literally 2006, right? Like, that version, done. And then we also have everyone's favorite antagonist, Jackson Storm here. A character I have not seen hanging around in the pegs all that much, so we're not going to give him too much grief. But still not someone I get super excited about. I'm sure you guys can understand that. But he looks pretty good. Like, he looks sleek. He's a next gen. Obviously, he looks sleek. Here we have Rust-eze Lightning McQueen, one of the more produced versions of McQueen this year, along with Cars on the Road and Lightning McQueen with sign, Lightning McQueen with shovel, and just regular Cars 1 Lightning McQueen. It is strange to me how Mattel has just swung so far in the Rust-eze McQueen camp here, and thus completely turned their backs on what is known as just regular Cars 3 Lightning McQueen. Like that version, just, yep, they're not really doing that version anymore. Last time, I think, was in 2021 when he was released with the Piston Cup accessory. I would not mind seeing that version back as a single. I mean, it would be a good change of pace. We seem to get the same McQueens over and over again. You know, next year, World Grand Prix McQueen is back in the mix, not somebody I'm necessarily looking forward to. Here we have Race and Rescue Mater, the best car from the case so far. I believe this is his third case. No, it's got to be his fourth. VW Y. No, I don't think he's in Y. I don't think he's in Y. Maybe it's X and Z. Either third or fourth case for this guy. Started off really rare. You know, he was a very coveted car in that first case he debuted in. And that, you know, has worn off a little bit as he's been put in future cases. But still, you know, a high quality release. Like, lots of metal. You're getting a good bang for your buck. It's a new towing apparatus. That new hook works with the McQueens with the holes in the bases so you could tow them around. And yeah, I do think it's one of the better Race and Rescue releases. Not necessarily close to Chick Hicks, but probably top 5 still. Like, you just feel like you're getting something worth the $4 or $5 you're spending. I mean, he has some good high quality, like, heavy metal, right? Where do you want this heavy metal, Mater? That's it. If you know, you know. New for 2025. Yep. Almost done with the year. And on the back, you have Sarge, McQueen, and Chick. Just like how the standard was in case V when he debuted. Always makes it seem like Sarge was meant to debut earlier in case V, but was pushed to W because he was included there on the back. Who knows? Here we have Lightning McQueen with Rust-eze sign. First time he's been in a case in a few. It's been a minute, but nothing too crazy. I still see some, you know, hanging around on the pegs. But I love the card art for this. I do think it's one of the best card arts that they got going on right now. The choking hazard detracts from it a little bit, but it's a great expression for McQueen. It's like a double McQueen almost. It's a mirage. Really cool. And as I've always said, if you run into a situation where you have both of these in the store at the same time, always, always, always get the McQueen with Rust-eze sign version. They are the exact same in terms of the die cast, but one comes with the plastic sign. Cool accessory, it really is. And they are the exact same price. So it does baffle me that Mattel is just so willing to put these in the same case all the time. Like, I get releasing them in the same year, but maybe like if this guy's in the case, just do like 2 Rust-eze McQueens, or I don't know, Road Trip McQueen. I don't know, just something else. But I will say, looking at your standard Cars 1 Lightning McQueen and his desert artwork here, the artwork he's always had, doesn't get old. In fact, it gets cooler as the years go on. It becomes more and more nostalgic. What doesn't become more and more nostalgic is that scene when Slim Hood appeared in Cars. Wait, Slim Hood wasn't in the first Cars movie. Mattel, why are you lying to us like that? Oh, Mattel. So yes, McQueen and McQueen would sign both in the case. Even McQueen would sign like features Lightning McQueen on the back. So it's like, hey, collect them all, including just regular Lightning McQueen without the Rust-eze sign. I just find it so ironic. Here we have an interesting one, Doc Hudson. Very clean card back here. You know, you don't have any choking hazard. You don't have any translations like you do with the Rust-eze sign McQueen, because so much of that can be translated. Like, I mean, the word lightning is not something, like, it's not a very specific name. It's like calling somebody like Wind Smith, right? Wind can be translated into any language you want. So that's why even like just regular McQueen's name tag gets a little cluttered. But Doc Hudson, not translatable in any meaningful capacity, and so you get a very clean looking card back here. Doc, character that sells quite well. You know, I said this about the King. The King, however, has proven me a little wrong, because again, just the sheer volume Mattel has infused him into the cases too many to the point where, yeah, I mean, he is peg warming a little bit. Doc Hudson, still no. So you get these iconic characters, classic original movie characters that are based on real life retro car models. Obviously the Hudson Hornet here. So those are always going to sell well compared to some of these other ones. But, again, I talked about this when I went to Spain earlier in the year, and it was reinforced when I went to the United Kingdom just a couple weeks ago. Europe, and maybe it's the same. I don't think it's the same in Australia. Obviously, I'm very familiar with what goes on in Australia with my close friend Astro Smokey, but maybe other places in the world are the same as Europe. Just don't have main characters. There are no Lightning McQueens in the entirety of, for example, the London Disney store. There just aren't. And it makes no sense. It's absolutely insane. No Sallys really either. No main characters. And there are just tons of all these obscure ones. Chose, Masha Elsrange, even Darrell was there, Cam Spinner. Some of this other stuff, you guys will see in that episode of The Hunt that I already released. Like that Disney store and some of the other stores I went to just don't have main characters. Spain couldn't find a single Lightning McQueen, so I understand why they put so many of those into the cases. But getting back on track here, 2 of Darrell Cartrip. I do like this decision. Like if you're going to double up on anybody, make it be a character that sells pretty well and somebody that attracts some attention. I mean, this is based on a real life person, Darrell Waltrip. So again, it's got that kind of extra juice, that extra bump in popularity that, a character like Cho or Ryan Shields, I guess, wouldn't necessarily have. My big problem with this is like his little milk mustache here. You could see right on top of his bumper there, just no orange got sprayed there at all. That was just a complete blank area. The inkjet was unable to reach, and thus you get the manifestation of a milk stash. But other than that, I really like this Thailand variant. Reviewed it in January, I think it was, February of this year. Got some other iconic Cars 1 characters. Well, not really too iconic besides Doc and McQueen, but very old Cars 1 characters, like old money. There's a difference between Donna Pitts and like Sarah Wilson or Derek Williams, maybe a better example. Yeah, 2 Darrell Cartrips. Totally fine by me. I think that's a good decision there. I see a bad decision, though, and that is Lightning McQueen with Shovel, who I just told you guys has been peg warming. It's a nice variant again, though. Like, it's not the best thing in the world, and the Shovel is still the wrong color. It doesn't match the movie, but this is the artwork that Pixar and Disney have provided Mattel, and Mattel can only do so much. In the movie, the Shovel is yellow, so I don't even know how this artwork came to be. He also looks way too happy to be shoveling his poor pavement off the road, and he also doesn't have all the dirt and grime on him that is on the diecast, so there is still some disconnects going on. Can't explain it all to you guys, but yeah, this has not been a hard car to find. He initially started off, like when he was debuted in case T, didn't find too many, but then he was like in the next case, and like 2 cases later, and then case after that, or whatever, he's been like 4 cases. 3 or 4 cases, which is ridiculous. Like all these other cars here on the back sold way better. I mean, their Ramon is non-existent anymore. Dexter non-existent. Mario non-existent. Some of these other ones are just hanging around because they've included more recently. Christina, though, I do think has peg warmed a little bit, but that's just because she's more of an obscure character, like I was just saying. Never would have guessed McQueen with Shovel would peg warm. I mean, spin out McQueen, finish line McQueen, back in 2022, 2023, some of those previous McQueen variants, they never peg warmed. Here we have Race and Rescue Sarge. So this is his second case of the year. After debuting in case W, he is now back in case Z. The best thing about him is that fire extinguisher, but this is one of my least favorite race and rescue characters. Just I don't like the design. I don't love the big logo on the roof there. Again, the fire extinguisher is unique. It's funny. It replaces his little fuel box that, pit crew member Sarge has, kind of like a reference to that, but still doesn't really do a whole lot for me. And there on the back, you have the 3 that debuted in the first case for the Expand Universe Series, Case V. And out of all the characters they could have chosen to do a color changer of, somehow Sarge was one of those characters. McQueen, Mater, Sheriff, Red. Okay, I understand. Red, great choice. I know McQueen and Mater had to be done. Sheriff, it's just like whatever. Sarge, too? Really? Like, I'll review him on the channel soon, but it's just like a head scratcher. Maybe the color changer will blow my socks off, but there are so many other characters that I would have done before doing Sarge. Like, what about Chick Hicks? Like, how cool would that have been? A Chick Hicks color changer, even if it's the rally version. Like, I'm okay with that. It's the same situation with Red getting their first color changer release on a variant, but something's better than nothing. Here's a great re-inclusion, high impact, debuting in Case U. Her first release from Thailand was this year, so she's been popular, been one of the better selling cars. Just a beautiful orange, like pops off the peg just because of how different she looks from everything else. Found a lot of these when I was down in Disney World earlier. That was just the case that was out and about during my time there. Out of all the cases, wasn't a bad one. You have Masha, you have Cho, President Mater, GRC Max, High Impact. On the back, you get a pretty basic look at some Cars 3 releases. But speaking of Cars 3, here we have Fishtail, who debuted a case earlier in Case T with Lightning McQueen with Shovel. Now, he's been in 3 cases this year, W, T, and now Z, if I'm not mistaken. It's hard to keep track, let's be real, but he is just a little more prevalent than High Impact. Love how the artwork looks for him. And again, a new Thailand variant to this year. A good one at that. Just has not been quite as popular as maybe I anticipated. But again, 3 cases where you're going to do. He's a pretty heavy one though too. So I would definitely considering snagging him. So tell me guys why High Impact does not feature Fishtail on the back. I just don't understand it. I mean, High Impact came out a case later, which is why Cam Spinner's there on her and not on Fishtail. But Fishtail did not get the invite over, which also begs the question, why didn't Jodon Jackson get the invite over as well? Jodon Jackson being one of the rare releases, honestly, of the year, despite not being a new variant, but only being included in 1 case, did not help his cause there. But yeah, this is a good pair here. 2 Thunder Hollow Demolition Derby cars to conclude the case for some nice variety. All right. Who else do we have here? Billy Oilchanger. Look at the symmetry on that. He was the first release that I did any review on for 2025. I got him just at Meyer. Meyer's always great at getting like the first case of the year in. They're getting in Case A of 2026 already. FYI, if you're in the Midwest, Michigan area. And here we are, Billy Oilchanger concludes the year as well in Case Z. So he was in the first case, a couple in between, and now the last case. Just to nail, to really solidify himself as one of the big peg warmers of the year. He has not been as bad, though, as Floyd Mulvihill, Ernie Gearson. Pretty much on the same level as Ryan Shields from what I can see. I like him a lot. I like this variant. I love the artwork. One of the first Piston God racers to be released back in 2007. He's in the top 6 if you don't count Chick, McQueen, and the King. Same thing with Winford there. Dave came out in 2008 in that 4-pack. 2008, yeah, I think it was 8. Or late 8, early 9 when he got his first release. Eugene did not get his first release until the launcher in 2009 and then Rubber Tire in 2010. But Eugene, one of the least released Piston Cup racers, the most anticipated to get their Thailand-made variant. And here we are, again though, already debuted in Case X at a quantity of 1, and now is back for Case Z. That is how it should be done, you know. This is one of the most anticipated releases of the year. We knew that. I announced this back in November of 2024. Everyone got super hyped. Everyone was asking me, when is he coming out? I was like, don't worry. Like, it's Ernie, then it's Ryan, then you'll get Eugene. And they include 1 in the first case and now 1 here in the last case. That's 2 overall for the entire year. Will not peg warm, will sell absolutely well, will become rare, probably pretty coveted as the years go on here. Contrasted with how they handled Ernie Gearson and Ryan Shields, who really should be on the same level. Now again, Eugene coming into the year far more popular than those two, but for those two to peg warm the way they have is unacceptable. But on the topic of strictly Eugene here, I really do like him. Like, it's a beautiful pink. It's a good Thailand variant. Not going to blow your socks off or anything, but it gets the job done. In fact, I have it loose here. For those who missed my review on it back in July. I'm sure I'll include the link to it in the description below. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Case X was already back in July. That feels like an eternity ago. Even though that case just now is starting to hit Walmarts around me. I never really hit any of my Target stores. Got Ryan Shields there looking really weird on the back. Just, it's a sad looking stock image. I don't know what they did. They mutilated him. They darkened him, messed up the eyes. Cardboard flap. Wow. Smooth. Crisp. Timeless. Really, truly is. Get out of here. Cardboard flap. Okay. Gonna cherry pick our way to the bottom here, because we saved the best for last here on the Mr. Docket channel. Speak of the devil, Winford, Bradford, Rutherford, the RPM racer, is also back in this case. So again, first case, some in between, last case. Love the symmetry in that. But like some of these other Piston Cup racers, pretty much all of them, to be honest. I feel like Chuck Armstrong is one of the least peg-warming Piston Cup racers, and obviously Eugene. But there's a good chance you walk in the Target, you could find like almost every Piston Cup racer that was released this year. It's kind of insane to say that. Stock cars from Cars 1, you probably won't find Cam Spinner. I mean, you could, but in terms of just Cars 1 stock cars, you can knock out a good chunk of them at my local Target. You could go there right now. You'll have Floyd, you'll have Ernie, you'll have Winford, Dave, Billy. Might even get lucky, find Eugene. You'll definitely have Ryan Shields. And you'll be on your way to a full collection in no time. All right. Oh, another doubling here. 2 Race and Rescue Lightning McQueen. So he's been in every case since his debut. In Case V, at least of a quantity of 1. So there's no shortage of him. He is peg warming. This is what was supposed to happen to GRC Lightning McQueen last year, except none of those cases really hit anywhere. Targets in Walmart, very limited quantities. This year, though, everything has gone according to plan, and thus, yeah, Race and Rescue McQueen is peg warming. The thing about GRC McQueen, like, he was produced at the same quantity per case as Race and Rescue McQueen. So it's like, okay, he's definitely going to peg warm. Except none of those cases like hit any stores. And so that was the real problem there. That kind of foiled my prediction. Although, I mean, in some areas, he absolutely still did peg warm. I will argue that that version is monumentally better than the Race and Rescue version here. I mean, I just don't even think it's close. Just seems like a lot more creativity went into the GRC McQueen using the Cars 2 version, using some interesting color palettes. The sides are not the same, like the right side's different from the left side, which is very rare. That doesn't happen often. Race and Rescue McQueen just doesn't have that same kind of ingenuity, I guess you could say. And here we have gone down to the 2 new releases in Case Z that will conclude 2025 for us. Race and Rescue Kathy Copter. So after, putting down her career as a Piston Cup RSN reporter, she has joined the rescue squad here for Radiator Springs to fly around and monitor the race, I guess. Not really sure what kind of rescuing she could do. She's not a rescue squad chopper, but she is a reporter plane, a media helicopter with a good heart. And, she's just trying to help out. Maybe she'll even do some photography, some filming while she's in the sky, multitasking, keeping a close watch on all of the contestants while also broadcasting the race on TV. Who knows? But this is a strange choice. I find this one very odd. Now, if you guys look through the book, Race and Rescue, I'm not going to go through it right now, but a lot of the characters that Mattel's released as diecast just don't appear in that book, like Kathy Copter, Adam Rodriguez, Morgan Martin. Some of these more just obscure Cars 3, or in this case, Cars 1 characters that they've just pulled into the Race and Rescue subgenre here, and yet they're not in the book. You know who is in the book, though? 3 Radiator Springs townies that get new paint jobs that Mattel elected not to release as diecast. Ramon, Flo, and Fillmore. Now, Fillmore's design is horrendous. Flo's is okay. Ramon, pretty good. Pretty good, actually, and very shocking to me that they did not release Ramon. Let me actually just try and fix Race and Rescue here real quick. This is what you're going to do. You're just going to can Adam Rodriguez. We don't need Adam Rodriguez. Screw him. Adam's like, what the hell, Mr. Sorry, bro. You're an obscure, like, Cars 3 character that then was duplicated in the Cars on the Road, then got released through that, and now you're getting a variant? Just no. No. Sheriff, you could stay, but now you're getting released as a single. You know then who takes your 2-pack spot? Ramon and Flo. And I think it's more cohesive that way. Kathy, I guess, could stay, but I would, absolutely can her in a heartbeat if somebody said, well, you could get the Transberry Juice crew chief or Race and Rescue Kathy Copter, or you could get the Thunder Hollow announcer or Race and Rescue Kathy Copter. You know how fast Race and Rescue Kathy Copter would get trashed in my book? I'm sorry. We're going to review her in a couple days. Maybe she'll sweep me off my feet, change my mind, but just not a great release. I just don't understand where the thought process was there. It's like they needed some sort of aerial vehicle, some sort of flying vehicle. And Kathy was just the most logical choice, most recent tile in the release. Still, though, just doesn't make sense. We know Rotor Turboski is getting a Race and Rescue release in the Mini Racers line, so it's almost like they wanted to do Rotor, which would make maybe a little more sense, but they didn't want to do that mold. Kathy was easier, but then it's like, well, we don't have Kathy as a mini racer. We already have Rotor as a mini racer, so let's just do him. It's like, what are we doing? Oh, sorry, guys. Anyways, you got Sally here on the back, who doesn't appear in the book, with the roof rack. So that was a Mattel original invention. Morgan, again, Morgan's great. He's downscaled. Same thing with Red, but they are some of the better ones in the series. Jeff's okay. We're going to see about Cal here in about 2 seconds. But Kathy Copter, a head-scratching inclusion at best. And for the last release of the year, the last gift of Christmas, the last gift of this Race and Rescue hellscape. Sorry, guys. That was a little harsh. Rally Race Cal Weathers. I think I'm going to like him. I already have a prototype of him loose here. We'll compare that to this one in the video, which I think I'm going to be doing next here. But yeah, I'm excited about this one. It's a great character to bring back for the series. Like, if you're doing racers, I'm totally fine with it. I like the red that they toned up on him. So yeah, I'm totally fine with this one. I just think some of the other character inclusions were a little head-scratching. But yeah, you got the 42 logo there. It looks really nice. And yeah, he probably will be quite popular. I don't think he's coming back in 2026, whereas Kathy is. And there you go. You have, oh, interesting. So you put Kathy on the back of this. You don't put Red on the back, but then you add Jackson. That's very interesting. It's almost like they wanted to show you more rally race stuff on this one. And then the other one, they wanted to show you more rescue stuff. I don't know. Maybe that was intentional. maybe it just happened. But anyways, guys, that is all for Case Z of 2025 singles. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing. Let me know who is your favorite from the case. For me, it's probably Cal Weathers. I don't think it's much of an argument. You know, again, Eugene already was in Case X, so his glamour is kind of worn off by now. Kathy, you just heard me rant about. So that leaves Cal by process of elimination. You know, the bar is not set very high in cases these days. Like, you know, I would look back in like 2019 and, you know, people would say, you know, Mater with 95 hat, just not that exciting of a release. Or, you know, even like the Nigel Gearsley Pity, Nip Pit Tire, like probably some people not too crazy about it. Even 2021, they're like Hot Rod Steve Herschel. What is that? You know, you take like any of those and just sprinkle them through the cases in 2025. They're the best release in every case. Like, it's just not even close. Like, yeah, you put Mater with 95 hat in this case, he's the best release. Because, well, I mean, he actually appears in the movie. You put Hot Rod Steve Herschel, well, he doesn't appear in the movie, but he's a hearse, right? Like, that's pretty cool. That means something. So, I don't know, just kind of my 2 cents on it. I mean, even Hot Rod Louise Nash, you could put her in any of the cases this year. I mean, was she not the best one in, like, 2 of the cases? Jonathan Gearson and Masha beat her out? Like, and that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon for another video. By the way, this upload was late because I waited in the day to receive it and thus could not come out at the usual time. But I wanted to get it still out early and not push it to the next upload slot. Bye now. One thing before we sign off here, guys, I want to clarify that Rally Race Chick and High Impact were actually both in Case X. So Case Z is their 3rd case, which is different from what I had originally thought, but Case X, just like I said earlier, barely found anywhere, not Target in my area, just starting to hit Walmart, so it's not very relevant, but yeah, that is what makes them a little more coveted than Fishtail or some of the other cars that are getting their 3rd cases here with Case Z.